Hello everybody, this is Dr. Novak again. What I'm going to be talking about, this is part 2 of lighting. Now I'm going to be talking about very intense lighting. And I'm going to tell you a few things, so stay tuned, about things that they're saying about lighting that the government should step in on and stop them from saying that, because they're basically lying. And I'm going to give you some information that you probably don't even know about when you buy a light, what happens to that light after you buy it. Now, what we're looking at here is the 90-gallon aquarium. This aquarium's been running over 4 years now. So for the past 4 years, the same fish, same plants, a lot of the fish have died after 4 years. They've gotten old and passed away. But it's still the same plants. There's a lot of babies in there and everything. But anyhow, the same crypt, the same Nubius is in there. The sword plants, same sword plants I put in 4 years ago. And of course, we have the plant on top, which is supposed to die within a year, but I'm still waiting for it to die out. And that's just a little hidden joke where people told me about some seeds I bought that they wouldn't last long. Anyhow, I've cut them down a few times and they've regrown. Okay, but we're not here to really talk about the tank or the fish in it or how long the plants have lived and the moss that's in there has been there in 4 years and stuff. We're not here to talk about all that. We're really here to talk about the lighting. And on this tank, I've tested out a lot of different lighting along with my other tanks. But this particular tank, as you'll notice, it has a big light on top. Now, this is a metal halide fixture, and I bought this back in the 80s. So I've had it for quite some time. And back then, we used to use metal halide for freshwater and saltwater. It was a way to get very intense lighting. And this is the fixture to it, but it no longer uses metal halide. I tried using the metal halide on this particular tank. Metal halide gets very, very hot, and over 300 to 400 degrees. And it's like this thing was like a little furnace, and it would just heat up the room. And it was easily to get this room in the 80s. So I use this light out for research purposes and stuff like that in big tanks, like a 4x4 by 24-inch tanks. Okay, that's what I would use one of these on. A big, huge tank like that in a garage or something where the heat that was being caused by the metal halide wouldn't affect it. Okay, where the environment that it was in. Of course, these are added on to the sides, which I've already went through with can lights. And the reason they're added on here is because the tank is so old now and has so much growth in the center here with moss and this plant here. When the light comes down, it will make dark spots at the very end. If this did not exist, the tank would be very well illuminated with just this one light. That's all you would need for a 3-foot aquarium. But there are aquariums that could use nice, big, bright lights, and I'm going to explain to you why the brighter the better. Okay, extremely bright light. Why do we need it? Because there's little secrets about LEDs that you don't know. Now, I know anyone can run out there and buy a cheap light fixture, and that's exactly what you get, a cheap light fixture. It may look good, but LEDs are not all made the same. LEDs go through a quality control. Your better LEDs get on one side, your LEDs that don't meet complete performance go on another side. This goes with all LEDs, that they're rated, and the manufacturers will, well, the ones who care buy the better LEDs, and the ones who don't care will buy the cheaper LEDs that go into their light fixtures. Now, when we talk about lighting, we also have to talk about one thing that is kind of a little deceptive about lighting, and that is LEDs lose their intensity. Now I went and looked, and I'm looking. I found out it says, why does my LED unit appear dimmer than when I bought it several months ago? This is a question that's asked right on one of the websites that sell strip lights. There is a reason for it. Of course, the manufacturer gives them all kinds of reasons of, you got to clean the light, check this and check that. The truth of the matter is, when you do research like I had to do a long time ago, you find out that LEDs, like all lighting, lose about 30% of their intensity after about 6 months. So that means if you run your lights 6 hours a day for 7 days a week, okay, it will lose 30% of its luminous output that you originally bought. So here, you take a light like this 36-inch light, and this has been designed to run all the time. It gets hot, very hot. In fact, let me see, I even got the temperature. It runs anywhere between 105 to 135 degrees. This does. That's why when you touch it, it's like, whoa, is this hot? It's designed to run that hot because LEDs, we think LEDs are a nice, cool light. Well, they're not. They do heat up. As you get into your high-intensity LEDs, they do heat up. 135 degrees is quite hot. They say IP67 waterproof. No. You cannot rate something waterproof. It has to be rated at water resistance. Okay, that wording is 100% wrong. There is no light out there, or no watch for that matter, that's designed that they can rate at waterproof. It's got to be rated at water resistance, because seals get old and the light, if it falls in, can wind up leaking. And therefore, no matter, even if you use a light like this that is water resistant to a certain depth, you still need to put a ground fault. Do not trust the light. Lights get old. The heat deteriorates anything that's in there as far as gaskets and all. They get dry and it can wind up leaking. I don't know why manufacturers say waterproof. No, you can't say that. There's another thing, that if this light, let's take this light right here. I'm going to use this as an example. I'm not going to beat up on anybody or anything. And this particular light is 36 inches, okay? And this particular light, if you have one, and that's just an example there, it comes with 6500K. You can take every foot of this and you get about 1100 luminous output per foot. So you got 1100, 1100, and 1100, which brings you 3300. Because if you put this in your tank, and this part of this light is not shining way down here, so you're not getting the full 3300. You're only going to get part of that light per foot. That's why I always say, look at your light, however long it is, and divide it. If it's a 2-foot light, divide whatever the luminous output is by 2. Now here's the thing. This light is rated at 3300. So it means you're getting about 1100 luminous output per foot of light. But subtract 30% after 6 months, and you only end up with 770 luminous output. Manufacturers don't tell you that. I know about it because I went right to the people that build the lights, and LED lights, and they said all LEDs deteriorate to about 30%. So whatever they're rated, within 6 months' time, if you're going to use it every single day, like I said, 6 hours a day. If you use 8 hours a day, that's going to be shortened. You'll get about 6 months until all of a sudden it's not looking as bright. Okay, this would explain that you now have 770 luminous output per foot, not the original 1100. This is just the way LEDs are. No matter what you buy, if you buy a shop light or anything else, all manufacturers know that they rate them at the highest rating, but they know after you use that particular LED light that it will lose that 30%. So subtract that from whatever your light is saying how bright it is, and that will be the true setting of about 70% for the lifespan of that fixture. If you had 500 luminous output, you'll have 500 lux at 1 meter. That's how they measure it. But here, I thought I'd tell you what this light is. So at 3 inches in your tank, it's putting out 470 par. Okay, that seems like a lot, but that's only 3 inches. At 6 inches, it puts out 267 par, but at 12 inches, it put out only 112 par at 12 inches. 12 inches doesn't help us with a deep tank, does it? You can see now why the par reading just keeps going down and down, or how much light is hitting the bottom with this particular fixture. And remember, these par readings are when the light is brand new. It's not when the light is now has 6 months of use on it. No, it's brand new. They're giving you these figures. Strip light, 36 inch, uses 46 watts of electricity. So you can figure that it uses about a half an amp of electricity, about a half an amp of electricity, which is good compared to incandescent, where if you had a 60 watt incandescent bulb, yes, it's using 60 watts of electricity. So if you have a 15 amp circuit, that's how, in other words, you can have 15 100 watt light bulbs, and you'll come out to be about 15 amps with 15 100 watt light bulbs. But you're using up electricity. So we all love these lights. So that's why I said, if you get some of these shop lights, they're not designed to stay on continuously. And a lot of them aren't very strong. I know you're probably saying, oh yeah, they're strong, because people have said that. They put out, sometimes they can put out 2,000 to 3,000 luminous output. But that's not really a lot, because remember, 30% of that's going to go away in 6 months. So there's something else we can look at. Besides looking at what I just showed you, you can come up with lights like this. This is called a corn light. It makes sense. It looks like a corn cob. Cob lights, corn cob. Cob lights are usually going to be just a circle with micro LEDs all put into it. But these are the only lights that are going to go up to as high as your metal halide. It's going to be a lot bigger than this, believe me, where it will put out the 16,000 luminous output, okay, that this can put out, 16 to 30,000. You really have to get into those big corn lights. They're big round lights, and they're expensive. And I don't think a lot of people want to go through the expense, but there is an alternative. Let me show you an alternative. One thing like I'm using in this light is you can buy lights like this. Now, this particular light is GE light. You can buy this at Lowe's. It's 15,000 hour life. It is wet rated for wet locations, and it puts out 7,500 luminous. Now, if you want one of these bulbs, they're big. They give you the adapter to fit into your fixture, that big fixture I told you. These are the replacements for this. Of course, this is nowhere as bright. It's not even half the brightness. It's only about 15,000. So it's almost half the brightness of that. And this is 15,000 hours. But These lights right here come in different types, different quality. So this you could buy at Lowe's, I think, for $40, $44 for one light bulb. Now, the only advantage of if you're going to have a deep aquarium, 55, 75, your specialty aquariums you're going to have, or you need a lot of light, is because of your plants, and they will penetrate and give you the most light going all the way down to the bottom of the aquarium to cause photosynthesis of your plants' life. So a 50,000 life expectancy of one of these bulbs, that's going to be what, 23 years at 6 hours a day. Okay, so you know they do cost. I'm not pulling any punches here. They do cost. This is $44. The light that's in there that I'm using in there is $11,000, and I think that was like $60 for that light, at least $60 for that light from a lighting manufacturer I had ordered from. Okay, not Amazon or not Walmart or something like that. I couldn't order it from. These you can order from Amazon. There is another light though. You're probably thinking, well, you know, I like the idea. I could buy a fixture maybe for 40, 50, 60 bucks. But I don't want to spend no $44 on a light bulb. Yeah, you may say that. And I know exactly what you mean. Then you got the Creed light. This is a 5000K light. And this light bulb here, I'll show you exactly what it looks like. This is another light bulb. This one puts out, I think it's 7,500 luminous output at 5000K, right? Here it is. So this particular light is a $10 light bulb. That's right. This is made right in Wisconsin. This light bulb is made in Wisconsin. It's American made. Bought it right off of Amazon. Cost $10. Made by Cree. If you're probably thinking, Cree, I haven't heard of Cree. Well, there's a hardware store up north called Menards, and they sell Cree lighting. Cree lighting is decent lighting. I've used Cree lighting a lot. They usually will come with a converter. I don't know if the converter's in here, but they will usually come with a, it's called a E39 Mongo base adapter. You get with the light. Both of these light bulbs come with that E39 Mongo adapter. Okay, so you can put it into that fixture that takes the, let me show you that. Look at the difference. So this won't fit into this socket, but they give you an adapter. So you put the adapter in, and then it knocks it down to this. This takes a special transformer and everything, which you have to stick off to the side. This gets plugged in right into the AC. Okay, that it's direct. All the electronics are in the bottom here of what this light is going to need to light up. And once again, it's wet rated. So if you don't want to spend a lot of money on a 7,500 luminous output light, it's $10. Right where you want it at 5000K. The 90-gallon that I just showed you has the 11,000, and then at each end, those lights are rated at 4,000 luminous output. So you have the 11,000 to 4,000. Now the 4,000, they're not putting out 4,000 anymore. They've lost 30% of their brightness over time because I've used them for quite some time. And the other light will lose more and more of its output as time goes on. So I just wanted to show you that you can take some of these old fixtures, or you can take some of these fixtures that now are basically used for growing plants and stuff in your home, which you may want to use a metal halide, where you do have an alternative, because that fixture, the one that's on the 90, you can literally touch it. Okay, you can touch it. And even if it's been on 6 hours, literally can touch it, put your hand on it, keep it on. With this, no, you can fry eggs on that fixture. That fixture got real hot, and it heats up a room, like I said. So This is an alternative. Now, we have to think of another thing. What if you're using a glass lid? Now that cuts back on your lighting, right? If you're using a glass lid, you're not going to have as bright of lighting as you thought. So once again, this is the reason I myself have finally ended the strip lights. Now, I'm not saying these are bad. What I'm just saying is I finally ended the strip lights because they hamstring you on how bright they are, and then buying two of those. Like that light's like $170 or something. So I'm going to have $300 worth of lighting over my aquarium. I may even need more over time. So I can understand where hobbyists are saying, no, that's too expensive. And some of these manufacturers that make good lighting, like Kessel and other manufacturers like what I use on some of the lighting, they use very good LEDs. So that's why they're charging even more for their lightings, because they use the top of the line LEDs. And if they don't meet their specification, those LEDs, they get rejected. Okay, they can't use them. They have to meet their tolerance. So you're paying for that because somebody has to make sure that those LEDs that they're getting meet the tolerance so they last a long time. So just remember that. You can go out and buy cheap light fixtures, and they will either burn out prematurely. We all know I had some lighting on the 90-gallon that I got off of Amazon. What happened? Within a year, I had five of these lights. 3 of them burned out within a year. They didn't last because they're trying to copy a light like Kessel makes, but the quality is not there of LEDs. So therefore the LEDs, and I checked it out, and it's the LEDs burning out. So this is what happens when you buy cheap lighting. That's it for part 2 of this. Basically to show you that there are other means. The light fixture, like I said, you could buy Amazon or Walmart, or just Google it and start using your search engine to find it out. The holder that I'm using is from Amazon. I'll do a review on that. If people are interested, I'll do a review. I do have a review of the bracket that I'm holding it with on Amazon. If you look up the extruded aluminum bracket that I'm using, it didn't get a very good review. I didn't give it a good review at all. I can do a review on my channel, but it needs a lot of work in order to work correctly. Okay, more work than I think hobbyists would want to put into it. That's just me. It needed a lot of work, and why are they selling a bracket like that needs so much work? And it has poor reviews, that bracket does. But because I have the tooling and everything, I straightened it up very quickly, and it works just fine. But that's all for another video. So anyhow, that's it with this video. I thought I would show you that at one time, these lights were very, very popular, these halide. Today, we can replace them with LEDs. This is about as strong as an LED you're going to get. Is about 11,000 luminous output. That's about as strong as you're going to get once they look like this. And then they got to start changing over to the corn light, as they call it. And that's up to you whether or not you would want to buy one of them. I don't know how long the corn lights last. I have no experience with them. Just with these light bulbs here, I have experience with and have tried them out and have been very successful with them. As you see, I use them in my other light. So that's it for this. I hope you learned a little something. Personally, they use less wattage than a 4-foot light stick does. So until next time, it's Dr. Nowak. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something about LEDs in this video that you can use when you buy your lighting. So until next time, happy fishing.